All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Green White Checkered TV. Tonight we have the Area 51 or Dark Horse Area 51 Indy Series here tonight at Monza Road Course. So I'll say will not be the giant Monza Oval, but we will be on the road course, and it will be the full Grand Prix circuit, so they won't be bypassing that first chicane, the very, very high speed to very low speed turn number one. And then, of course, I'll say very familiar, very famous track here tonight. So the drivers putting down their qualifying laps, and I'll say going to definitely be a few drivers licking their chops at the road course because we definitely have a few left and right specialists here tonight. And I definitely see one that's kind of a one-off here and there, able to show up and make some noise, and see him again tonight. So we'll definitely get some more info on him later on. But yeah, so race distance tonight, 36 laps, and that's going to be a big number tonight because it sounds like it's going to be right around the 11 to 12 lap range on fuel. And so that could cut a pit stop off potentially. And the other potential big story, of course, as well, is with this being a road course, it puts in the requirements of tire compounds. We have the primary black tires and the alternate red tires. Alternate red's, of course, the faster tire, but they start to burn off quicker, have less longevity. The primary black's a little slower tire, but lasts a lot longer. So you have to decide what the strategy is going to be. And the other part of that is you have to use both compounds over the course of the race. And then also 10 push to pass available. So if you're near a car and you pick up the draft and want that little extra kick, you might be able to put that push to pass button, and that you'll get like a little green screen on their dashboard. You'll see it, and I'll say we'll definitely try to keep an eye so we can show you viewers what's going on with that one as well. So a lot to go over here tonight. With it being the first road course in a while, and we also got to pull up our points for tonight. As right now, Nick DeGroot's been pretty good this season. As I say, it's an understatement to 2 wins in his 5 starts. Has a 61-point lead over Eric Peterson. Craig Forsyth just 3 back in 3rd. And then another 5 back to Jeff Heisong in 4th. And then you got Jim Brooks, Andrew Wood, Dan Morera, Joseph Morales, and then Matt Wagner, Yari Brupacher rounding out our top 10. Again, no playoffs or anything like that, so it's just a 12-race best point season. So right now, Nick DeGroot obviously with a really solid 61-point lead. However, a win can really jump you up the running order here tonight. So, and the other big story, let's say, I'm bringing in on this one, Boomer. It's update week, which means there's a lot of changes to the server, to the cars, and that always throws leagues that, like us, for example, for that run on these Tuesday nights, kind of right off the bat. So I'll say these guys might notice these cars probably run a little bit differently than when they practiced earlier to tonight.
Yeah, definitely going to be a lot of changes. They always push out a lot of updates, a lot of new stuff for each end of each season. Those 4 seasons, each kind of quarter of the year here. So I am currently sitting at about 46% installed for the update. So might take me a second to get in and actually visualize these cars on track. But excited to be here tonight at the Temple of Speed, as you mentioned, at such a historic racetrack, and really fun for this league to bring in a little bit of diversity, something different. We're not at an oval this week. We're doing the left and right hand turns. This is an opportunity for some guys, those specialists that you mentioned, to maybe pick up a win who haven't yet this season, or for others to continue to build their points up as this we work towards this 12 season long IndyCar stylized point system. So it'll be exciting tonight, that's for sure.
Yeah, and also, yeah, like I said, a great point on that too is I'll say I'm going to get butchered probably on the broadcast, because I mean there's a lot of turn names. I say again, it's not a turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, turn 4 type track. I say these tracks or these turns are named after very specific things and sometimes specific people. And unfortunately, I don't really have those memorized, so you'll have to bear with me as we try to catch things happening on track. I'll try to let you know what turn it was, but I say I'm not feeling too confident about that one here, unfortunately, Boomer. But it looks like qualifying has just completed here, so we'll pull up our starting grid for tonight's event as drivers get ready to kick things off this evening as well. And it's going to be the number 8 of Matt Wagner on pole position tonight, as he's able to put down a 131.9, I believe that number is over there. And then next to him will be Andrew Wood, who's he mentioned when we were talking pre-races, kind of go over kind of the bad luck he's been having over the course of the season. Obviously, a couple tough races, Iowa, of course, being the notable one for us, Boomer. But hopefully able to recover from that. But then you got Alec Coates, Nick DeGroot, Craig Forsyth in the top 5. And then you got some new names, new faces. You got William Gunn, Luke Daniels, both here in the top 7. Jim Herrick there 8th. Then you got Dan Morera, Ryan Steinhoff, Yari Brupacher, and Jeff Heisong in 12th. And we'll continue to roll down the remainder of the grid, which will be also then you have Kobe Moore. That's the road course specialist I'm going to be keeping my eye on in that 87. Then you got Eric Peterson, Taylor Toller, and Jason Hand, our 16 starters here tonight.
Definitely going to be an exciting one, and I'll try and see if we can pull up the names of the corners, have that up as a guide for us. I know that I do know for a fact that they have changed over the years a little bit as far as the names, but other than that, not entirely familiar with the track, other than knowing that it is obviously one of the most historic tracks on the Formula One circuit, and definitely a fun racetrack, really a high speed racetrack. Almost drives, other than maybe for the chicanes, almost drives like a like a higher speed, like an oval, but it's definitely a unique track and extremely historic.
Yeah, exactly right. So you can actually say they're actually gridding here kind of down the backstretch, if you will, which is actually right under the bridge of the part of the Monza Oval there. So say they're driving through again. One I say also on iRacing is that Monza Oval, which is a wild one in its own right here. So again, it's gonna be Matt Wagner, Andrew Wood leading the field here to green. It looks like one driver opting to start from the pits. That is going to be Eric Peterson. However, what I'm looking at right now, though, Matt, is the tire strategy. And I'm saying right now, I'm seeing a lot of primary black tires on these cars. Only a couple decided to go on the alternate reds. Again, the faster tire, but again, the fall off is a little quicker. That's going to be the 89 of Nick DeGroot there, as well as the number 20, or sorry, the 49 of Yari Brubacher. These two drivers opting to start on the reds, which means this is their one stint. They can run these red tires this time, and then from then the rest of the race, they could run the primary blacks through to the end of the race. And then the rest of these drivers who are starting on the primary blacks will have to at least make one of their stints on those alternate reds. So also cautions, of course, being a road course, won't be thrown unless there is a major incident. At the admin's discretion, they will choose if they need to throw it or not. So we'll see if that comes into play or not this evening as well, which could make a big difference in the fuel strategy.
Yeah, definitely, and it will be interesting to see as far as the red faster tires tonight. They may or may not last as much as fuel does, so it'll be interesting to see. You may have to plan to have a shorter pit cycle for those tires, because we have heard from the drivers in practice that if it does manage to, if they once they they fall off really hard, and it's like a cliff. So you definitely want to make sure that you have that planned out and have run a couple laps on both tires to be ready for that.
Oh, contact right off at the start there. Looks like, I think, the terrible luck for Yari Brubacher continues, as Andrew Wood actually going to take the lead into the first hairpin here. We'll see if he's able to hold on to it. And so far, so good. Looks like everybody's doing a pretty good job of getting through here. Although it looks like we do have some contact a little further back there. I believe Ryan Steinhoff, Taylor Toller. I think Dan Morera also got a little piece of that. Trying to look at the damage of the car. So it looks to be not too bad. Right now, unfortunately, Yari Brubacher definitely got the worst of that one on that initial start. So up front, though, it's going to be Andrew Wood that's been able to kind of sneak away here and take the pace off on this one. As right now, we got a bunch of cars jumping around here. I think we had some slowdown, having more contact in the back there. Oh, we got a big wreck. This is definitely a yellow that could be thrown here by the admins. And we'll see if it does or not, because we got 3 cars stuck in the grass here, in the gravel, I should say. And yeah, they're still trying to get rolling here, so we'll keep an eye. But yeah, right now we've got cars off all over the track right now. And yeah, definitely a tough one here at the moment.
Yeah, definitely a lot of action here early on. Definitely going to be a testament to these guys that can, manage a race and keep it clean for the rest of the night, because it's definitely going to be a tricky one.
Yeah, I'm honestly a little surprised that the admin yellow wasn't thrown for that one. I think that would have fit the bill, because we've got 5 cars off. Actually, up there, the safety car is out, so they decided to throw the yellow there. So unfortunately, it's going to hurt a few of these drivers. It's going to put them all down a lap, but it could be a lot worse. As you see, there's the Porsche safety car going to roll out right in front of the 64 of Andrew Wood. However, I think going to be a big break, though, for a handful of these drivers. And actually, now that I think about all these drivers that towed here, Boomer, this should actually might be an opportunity for them where they can get the tow and get back out on track and not lose a lap. Because in my head, they were already a lap down, but that's actually not the case. So this could be a big break for some of those guys. And again, this is going to really also change the fuel mileage here. So unfortunately, some of those that are trapped right now on pit road, you can see them lined up there is Craig Forsyth, Luke Daniels, Jim Herrick, Kobe Moore, and Jason Hand. And again, we talked about the points battle. Craig Forsyth was right in the thick of it there, along with some of those guys. And I think Jim Herrick was not too far out. And unfortunately, don't see Eric Peterson in the 36 car on track. So kind of disappointed that he wasn't. I'm not sure if something happened where he fell out or what's going on, but definitely missing him tonight, as he was here a little earlier in practice. So right now, of the 15 starters, we have 10 drivers still on track, but we'll see. Hopefully those drivers can get their fast pairs and get rolling out. But yeah, so looks like first road course start of the season, definitely coming off to a little bit of a rocky start. We got one spinning around there. Yari Brubacher looks like he's got some suspension damage to that left front, I believe. Yeah, he's got a flopping tire here. He's just trying to limp this thing back to the pits there. And you also see right behind him Ryan Steinhoff, also that car sparking in the background. Yeah, his left front tire is just dragging up along the track. He's also just trying to make that thing to the pits, save that or save the toe, I should say. So these guys are doing everything they can to hang on to, and still waiting to see. Hopefully, those guys that take a tow, their goal is to be able to try to win that race before the pace car comes crosses them here. So yeah, pretty wild start to kick things off here, Boomer. But right now, say still Andrew Wood, who's showing as our leader. And like I said, the fuel strategy here, this kind of changes things. I think at this point now, this does put everybody in a two-stop window to the end. But again, though, they're still pretty much everybody except Nick DeGroot and Jari Brubacher, they have to run the alternate reds at some point. And so this could be an opportunity here for a Nick DeGroot, for instance. He could roll in here, drop those reds, and then go to the primary blacks, and he would meet the regulations. Same for Jari Brubacher. So this could be a opportunity for these guys to get rid of that tire that sounds like isn't the preferred tire, I should say, tonight. But again, it kind of forces the hand of these other drivers here that have not started on those reds.
Yeah, definitely a huge opportunity for the guys that were able to start on them. Kind of a blessing and maybe a gift here for them. So it'll be interesting to see if they do switch here on this pit cycle.
Yeah, so we'll try to keep an eye on that. And I say here's a big story right now, though, is we've got drivers just now starting to roll out of pit road. Say Covey Moore looks like he's the first one coming out, along with who's that? Luke Daniels. Craig Forsyth's rolling out, so they're just gonna beat this pace car out of pit road. So now, like you said, though, let's check this pit lane. Do we see any takers? And surprisingly, it looks like so far the answer is no. So I really thought this would be a great opportunity for Nick DeGroot, for instance. But we do have from about, looks like Alec Coates, Taylor Toller, Jari Brubacher, and Ryan Steinhoff. They're all jumping in pit road. And so say for Jari, like I said, this could be maybe a bad situation that goes better for him. So we'll keep an eye on that. And for those that did get the wave by on the caution, I believe looks like all but Jim Herrick. I think the one that got trapped still behind, unfortunately, Jason Hand in the 00. So he's going to get trapped behind the pace car here on this caution. So let's say, I believe, let me double check the pace car here if the lights are still on or not to see if we're going to go green this time or not. Let's say, trying to see. Say, actually, we got the 64 kind of rolling way back of the pace car here. So to really get a good view, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm not sure if we're going to be going green this time or not. I think they're still trying to get everybody situated here and try to get people lined back up correctly.
It's going to be unique to the road courses. You want to try and get going again as fast as you can, but you know, if you do have to burn another lap, you know, sometimes it kind of is what it is. So, but yeah, try always to get going as soon as you can. But it'll be a little bit of a longer pace lap here at the road course tonight.
Yeah, and I say, lights still are on that pace car, but I say sometimes they do shut off kind of halfway through. So, but yeah, I do need to mention though, they did also notice, as we saw there, they did let the 00 of Jason Hand go by, so that does put the field back onto the lead lap here. And I think that's just kind of doing a solid for those guys. So, got to wait for timing and scoring to completely update. Right now, you still see obviously a few drivers showing a lap down, so it just hasn't completely updated as of yet. But yeah, so right now Andrew Wood still though our leader over Matt Wagner, Nick DeGroot. However, the kind of the beneficiaries of all the chaos in the initial start though, Jeff Hysong, he's gonna jump 6 spots from 12th into that top 6 at the moment. And like I said, I'm still actually surprisingly though, now that I'm looking at Jari Brubacher, he's actually still on those alternate reds. I would have thought he would have switched to the black tires. And then you also have Ryan Steinhoff that is now on the alternate reds, as well as Covey Moore, and then also Alec Coates in that number 3. So a lot of drivers swapping from the primary blacks to the alternate reds here, so kind of an interesting strategy on that front.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. We'll see how that works out for them, see if they can make those tires last for a little bit longer, and we'll see. Hopefully we'll be going back to the green flag this time by.
Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on that. Say if we don't, we might step away for just a moment, and that way they can run the pace lap. What I say, I don't know if there's any formal rules. Maybe there's something kind of going on, discussion within the admins kind of referring to the driver, said, hey, since there wasn't a formal lap completed, we're gonna like stay on the tires you qualified on, or so on and so forth, where it doesn't maybe apply to the strategy like we talked about. Um, but I think what this does do though is I believe this will put us without too much trouble into that 2 pit stop window. I think this caution takes any of that potential fuel saving out. So I think for the drivers may not be a bad thing, because now it's like, okay, you know what? We know from here on it's a 2-stop race. As they're watching the safety car, it looks like it's still going to stay out. So we will go one more time around. We'll see if anybody's going to jump onto pit road. And so far, it looks like everybody's going to go ahead and stay on track here. Got a couple guys peeking towards the back here. And yeah, we're going to have a handful there. I think it's just going to take that little extra splash of fuel. So we'll step away for just a moment. And yeah, we'll come back here on when we get back to green here in just a moment. As you can see, the safety car lights are off, so it's going to hand it back over to that number 64 of Andrew Wood now, who will have control of this restart. So I'll say again, of course, a big difference now is how I'll say he might want to drag back a little bit from the pace car, because I'll say this is going to be, you always want to try to get that little bit of a jump on the guys behind you. However, I say with iRacing, not sure how the rules are here on the road courses. Say, should they determine maybe you need to still wait for the start-finish line or what? So say Andrew's got to be a little careful, because it could definitely put him in a spot where he might kind of get jumped after here. So, and then of course all those guys that took those fast repairs, they got to just be on absolute pins and needles the rest of this race here. Which, again, I mean, we still got over 30 laps to go in this one. So we're gonna restart here, Boomer, on lap number 5. As the pace car is just gonna peel off, hand it over to Andrew Wood. We'll see what he's able to do here as he's going to start building that speed down the front stretch. As he is down away, already trying to weave and break the draft, as they're going to head straight into that first very, very sharp turn here.
Protective line for Andrew Wood as he heads into the first chicane, or variante, the first variante here. See if we can get through this clean this time on this second restart here. Or yeah, first like restart, I should say.
Everybody's playing nice.
A little slow for Nick DeGroot, though. kind of off to the outside, but he looks to tuck back in line there.
Yeah, looks like Dan Marrero snuck back around him there to grab that third position. Or actually, I decided fourth position, but yeah, you're right though. As we see Jari Brupacher, he's making a ascent into that second one as he's going to get around. I believe that was Jeff Heisong, if I'm not mistaken. But right now, though, Andrew Wood able to sneak away by about a second right now on Matt Wagner. Let's say, but here on back, this is where everything really came undone on this initial start. So this is where everybody's, again, they got to be really careful here through the Lesmos here, and then they'll be able to, again, get some speed back into these cars. And already some drivers on the push to pass here. Boomer wasting no time trying to make up some ground. And there you see right there, Craig Forrest use that push to pass, gets around Jeff Heisong as they hit the Parabolica here before they get into the Ascari for the last set of turns.
Yeah, so we had Dan Marrero and Craig Forsyth also both using a push to pass there. So, like you said, trying to get the opportunity to make some passes and move forward here early. For the most part, almost everyone else has 10 left, so we'll see how they use that throughout the race. Kind of a mixed bag as far as, like we said, the black tires and the red stickier or faster compound tires. But we'll see Andrew Wood actually ran the fastest lap of the race so far, a 1 minute 33.94 second lap. Second quickest was William Gunn in third with a 1:34.20. So 0.3 of a lap faster already for Andrew Wood. So looking to see if he can extend that lead here early.
Yeah, I see Nick DeGroot in and out of pit road, and it looks like, I believe, right now it's still showing on the primary or the alternate reds, but I believe it's showing that he actually switched to the primary blacks. We'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, kind of an off-go, a little bit of a bump there for that number 18 there, Jeff Heisong, but able to hang on to it here. But I don't think a scheduled stop there for Nick DeGroot. So again, we talked about the points lead he had going in. This is a track that could definitely change things up. So. And again, I don't like how early he had to pit there, so I'm a little nervous, Boomer, if that's maybe having to pit for damage or if something else is going on. But I think this forces him now into that 3-stop strategy that we talked about. So I'll say right now he's about 20 seconds off the field here and still has the same number of pit stops he's going to have to make to the rest of the field as well.
Yeah, definitely unfortunate for sure, as it looks like we saw Jason Hand in the back of the field going off track there for a minute at the Variante Ascari. Now as most of the field is working through Curva Parabolica before coming back through to the front stretch here.
And there you go. We're on board with Jari Brupacher. You see the dash, it goes green. You see the flashing green lights. That means Jari's on the push pass. He's got the draft. He's going to try to work around Dan Marrero here to get into the top 3. As you can see, he clears him. Now it's going to be the braking duel into turn number 1. And you can see as long as he can get it wound up here, he should hold the position. And it looks like job done for Jari. So move Jari up into the 4th position. Sorry, not for 3rd. As also a little bit further back, Ryan Steinhoff. Now he's on the button coming out of that first chicane as he's trying to chase down Cody Moore in that number 87. And right now, Dan Marrero now under pressure from Craig Forsyth as well. Craig took a look, couldn't quite get there. He's going to tuck in and wait a little longer, but yeah, everybody's starting to get a little tired. Getting a little more comfortable, getting some temperatures back in those tires. I think these guys are starting to feel comfortable here. And it looks like Craig has gotten around Dan Marrero. So, we got a couple off track, I believe. It looks like just a quick one for Jim Herrick. Looks like he's back on track, so no harm, no foul. But yeah, definitely this track does like to bite, though. If you get just a little bit off us, so you got lots of sand to get into.
Now we actually saw further back in the pack, Taylor Toller actually made contact with the barriers out of Curva Parabolica or turn 11. So he having a little bit of a rough day so far. He is currently being shown 44 seconds off the pace, so about half a lap right now. And actually looks like he just went off the track again and has now jumped to the pits. So potentially,
yeah, big hit for the 6th.
Yeah, wow.
I see that. We'll go back as well because I think Jason Hand had a moment right before, so we're going to go back and take a look on the replay here. So first we'll watch what happened here to Jason Hand here. And, oh, yeah, the car just steps out. And, yeah, just at that point, just a big hit to him. And then, like you said, then Taylor Toller not too far afterwards. He has a similar issue here, so we'll do the same. We'll try to speed things up and take – oh, actually, we're just about to see it as it happened. Like I said, through that second set of the second chicane there. And, big hit there for that number 6 as well. So I say both those drivers having to take a tow, get back to the pits. But we'll jump back up to Andrew Wood, as right now he's got about a second and a half here over Matt Wagner. But right now, William Gunn, that 14 car, he is keeping Matt Wagner very honest right now in that number 8. So this 14 showing a lot of pace here early on in this one.
Yeah, currently right now, Matt Wagner running about 0.4 of a second slower than our leader. William Gunn is within 0.2 of a second there, and actually the third fastest on track that last lap was actually Luke Daniels. So that's a big lap for him back in the pack, currently running in the 9th position where he started. So looking to see if he can make some progress going forward. Obviously, Andrew Wood up 9 spots at the front of the pack, leading us all, and definitely putting on a clinic like he has been, like he did last week to start the short track race at Iowa last week.
Yeah, it's like Yari Brubacher had a little bit of a fight there with Craig Forsyth, and Craig's going to grab the spot. But now Yari was under attack from Dan Marrero, but Dan not able to complete the pass as both Yari and Dan are on the button.
Yep.
So this is the defense side that you can do. So if you're Yari, you can go on the button as well, try to get that little extra speed. The thing is, Dan, he's got the button and the draft, and it's going to be another drag race here into that first chicane here. So we'll see who's braver on the brakes. And oh man, it is tight between the two of them, but Yari is going to prevail. But that's just brought Kobe Moore and Luke Daniels into the mix. As now Luke goes on the button, he's going to try to see if he can get a good exit out. Maybe try to make a move into this next set of turns here behind Kobe Moore. Look at the momentum. He has to roll out of it there, Boomer, because Kobe put a move on Dan, and that's how fast things are changing here at Monza. As these guys are going after it here tooth and nail.
Man, Kobe, that was impressive for him to get slowed up the way he did without missing that chicane. Very impressive there. Definitely watching him and Yari. I mean, the braking that they're able to do and how late and how hard they're able to brake without losing control has been impressive so far. Obviously, Andrew Wood probably the one who's doing the best of that up at front, but it's more fun to watch some of these guys in the middle of the pack who are battling it out.
Yeah, so we pop back on board here with Luke Daniels as he's trying to find a way around Dan Marrero here, like I said, going right now through the Parabolica before we get to the Scar chicane. But yeah, right now though, I think we might have it backwards, but yeah, Scary to the Parabolica. There we go. Like I said, I'm gonna butcher these turns, but the surprising thing though here, Boomer, Andrew Wood though, he's been using his push to pass button as well in that 64 car. And I'm not sure if this is a strategy just to try to stay out of the draft window of Matt Wagner, or, I mean, I would think you'd want to save those as long as you can. Look at Kobe Moore here trying to break the draft on Dan Marrero. So these guys are going, like I said, they're trying to do everything they can. So, and then, yeah, so right now, though, again, the one I'm going to be watching here is going to be that number 14 of William Gunn, because he stays right about 3 to 4 tenths off of Matt Wagner. But he's yet to get aggressive on those push to passes. But again, I think strategy-wise, though, if they can make it and keep those cars in one piece here, Yari Brupak or Kobe Moore, right now, again, they're the first two on the alternate reds. They'll be able to go to those primary black tires. As man, you're right, though. Kobe is just super quick on the brakes here. As I say, we look at the back, and normally you can see the cars, but they got the high downforce package here tonight at Monza. And so I say you can't see a lot except for the fact that this is Kobe Moore's car with the name on the back wing of it. But yeah, these guys are fighting really hard as it leaves just a little bobble off of that turn for Yari Brubacher. That's going to allow Dan Marrero to try to make a move. And once again, Boomer, he's on the button, making sure he
So is Luke. Yep, so is Luke trying to get around Yari as well.
Again, Yari aggressive on the brakes, and he's able to hold in. So that's a tough one for Luke there, because he used the push to pass there, and he doesn't complete the pass, so almost like you not a waste of it, but yeah, not getting what you wanted to get out of it there. So that's a tough spot to be in for that. But yeah, these guys this is what's fun about this track. I feel like with the long straights here, it really does have a tendency you can really keep these guys bunched up together. As we'll jump now to William Gunn, because he is within just a tenth of Matt Wagner, but once again just rolls out a little early. But again, I'm watching a little further back, and I keep seeing the greens light up as Luke Daniels once again using it on Yari, and Ryan Steinhoff is on the button as well. But oh my, look at Yari. Oh, so deep. Does he hang on to it? He does. Yari is just, he's got that brake. He's got those brakes dialed in here, Boomer.
Yeah, definitely impressive so far watching Yari and his craft. Some of these guys definitely have what it takes to turn both right and left here at Monza, and it's really exciting to see. I mean, it's impressive what some of these guys can do. I know it's definitely a different mindset or a different skill set for sure, but it's exciting to see these guys battle out tonight.
Yeah, I say Ryan Steinhoff just granted a gift there as we saw both Yari and Luke go off track there again. A little moment for Yari. Oh, you can see right there, Luke Ryan rolls out of it. Oh yeah, I think, remember talking about how fast the Reds would fall off? I think the Reds have just done so. And so unfortunately for Ryan Steinoff, he just gained 2 spots, but now he's under attack from Luke Daniels once again. So looks like probably another braking duel here coming up. And right now looks like Luke's got the preferred track position, and he's gonna grab that spot. But yeah, so I think those Reds just might be starting to fall off a little bit, unfortunately for Yari here, which now puts the highest running driver on the alternate Reds as Covey Moore, who again, that's one I remember watching. I feel like he's kind of the road course specialist of the team between he and Nick DeGroot, which do need to mention about Nick. He is still sitting in about 13th position here, as once again Luke Daniels on the button. He's already used 5 of the push to passes here, Boomer. So I mean, it's one of those things, if you start using him too soon, you're not going to have anything to defend with in the second half of the race, because right now we're starting lap 12. We're only a third of the way through.
Yeah, definitely. It seems like quite a bit of people are anywhere from the 5 to 7 push-to-pass range left. Other than the ones who haven't used it at all, those would be Matt Wagner, William Gunn, and Covey Moore in the top 6, as well as Alec Coates in 10th, Jeff Heisong and Nick DeGroot in 12th and 13th. So obviously Nick DeGroot quite a bit off of the pack so far, but most of the guys, especially Matt Wagner and William Gunn, saving those. They probably do not know that Andrew Wood has used as many as he has, but definitely going to be looking to see them charge strong as it gets to the end of the race, and we turn more laps as we are about a third of the way through this one tonight.
Yeah, and also need to mention Matt Wagner really just closed the gap on Andrew Wood. I think maybe Andrew had a bit of a mistake the last time around, because he had a 1:35.45 to Matt's 1:34.0, so a second and a half quicker for Matt Wagner. As again, Andrew's on the button here. He's already burned half of them. And you see right there, Matt and William, they're going to go straight to follow that drive, try to steal the toe, but saving those push to passes. And of course, the other thing to mention, Boomers, with those caution laps, even though the top 3 haven't pitted, they should pretty safely now just about be in that window to make this on a 2-stop one.
Oh, as we see Andrew Wood blows through the chicane. Yep.
That's going to be a slowdown penalty as well here. So Matt's going to be seeing this, and he knows this is an opportunity, because depending on how big that slowdown is, Matt might be able to get the spot he is.
Yeah.
So move Matt Wagner into the lead, as William Gunn's going to follow through as well, grab for second. Andrew Wood unfortunately falls to third there. And you wonder, Boomer, again, that push to pass does hit, maybe again you get a little bit more speed coming into the turn, but man, these guys are all going after it right now, as we got
definitely.
the top 3 within a half second.
If you're on the button and you also manage to to be in the toe and you pull out, you're gonna have to readjust your braking marker, because you're gonna be carrying a lot more speed than you normally do into those chicanes. So it's definitely something to think about. Yep. Going to try and make a pass as they get into Variante Ascari. He will complete the pass with gusto. Wow, well before the chicane. Yeah,
that's either Matt rolling early or that 14 has, like I said, that he's got the Yari brakes dialed in too. So Matt was feeling good. It's like, hey, I got the lead. I can get a bonus point, lead a lap. And then William Gunn's like, not so fast, Matt. I'm gonna grab that lead now.
Right, and that's some of the nature of running a track that is 3.6 miles. A lot can change throughout the entire length of the lap, so it's even a bigger deal to actually get a chance to lead a lap here tonight. Those bonus points for the championship battle, ever so critical, especially when we don't have no playoff format here, just straight up old school NASCAR and today's IndyCar format for the points. So definitely. More important to have those points as the season goes on, and definitely looking to see for Matt to eventually jump back up and try to get a lap lead.
Yeah, but didn't you mention that Dan Marrera, Jeff Heisong, they're both hitting pit road here. That's coming on lap number 14 with 23 to go, so that should be okay to make it to the end. Oh man, that 2014 just hops over the bump there. Is able to hang on to, though. But saying that's the other thing too, is maybe that 14 car using a little bit of the Red Bull paint scheme, just getting that little bit of extra speed here. So you have to keep an eye on that rear wing, make sure there's no like magic DRS flap or anything, give him a little bit more top end. But looking just a little bit further back, Boomer, though, creeping into this mix just little by little here, Craig Forsyth. He is now only about 2.5 seconds off these guys. As I believe Yari Brubacher looks like he's gone off track, and I believe also a moment for Covey Moore. No, looks like Covey's okay actually, but I think Yari did have a moment there in that 49. But the car looks like he's hanging on, but I think those red tires are just kind of giving up the ghost here.
Yeah, it looked like he crashed into the second chicane. Yeah, just kind of lost it and overcorrected a little bit. By the time he
Oh, I
got
think
back
Matt
onto it.
Wagner's out of fuel.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's having to coast to pit road here, and that's why he's dropped so many spots here in so much time. As you can
Wow.
see, William Gunn and Andrew Wood, they're already on pit road. Matt's still just hitting coasting into pit entry.
Wow.
So Matt lost a ton of time, and we're talking about Craig Forsyth again. He pitted under that yellow. Unfortunately, was caught up in the wreck on that lap one, but now he can go further than those guys. So this is where he's got to make that overcut work here, Boomer. Again, for those not familiar, undercut versus overcut. The undercut means you pit before the competition. You try to jump them on track with those fresher tires. Overcut, you put that really big lap in after the competition pits and try to come in or get in and out in front of them after they come in. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, as right now we've got all but about, looks like 3 drivers hit pit road pretty much that time around. So that leaves Craig Forsyth, Jim Herrick, and Kobe Moore as the 3 to stay out. But importantly for Craig, though, he has a 13-second lead here over Jim Herrick, who is working or trying to keep Kobe Moore in his rearview mirror here. And that battle out of the pits, it looks like Andrew Wood over William Gunn. And then here's the heartbreaker, though, for Matt Wagner. He has fallen to about 13 seconds behind William Gunn after running out of fuel there.
Yeah, that is definitely unfortunate. Not a mistake that you can recover from fully. If you could bleed like 5 or 6 seconds, you could maybe make that up, especially if you've saved a lot of push to passes, but definitely not a big deficit you'll be able to overcome. But we do still see Andrew Wood and William Gunn working really hard. Andrew able to cut across William and get ahead of him in the pits. And they're both battling hard. William actually burning a couple push to passes here to try and maybe get closer to Andrew, try and maybe force Andrew to make another mistake, as Andrew will likely inherit the lead, as we do see Craig Forsyth, Jim Herrick, and Kobe Moore all coming down pit road this time.
Yeah, that's gonna be the question: is where does Craig come out in relation to these guys? Because they're already down on the front stretch here, and Craig just now rolling out of pit road. So saying
Yeah, so it'll
it's already
definitely be
cycled
easy.
here. So yeah, so not a problem for them to say Craig just now grabbing a gear and getting going, but he will cycle out comfortably into that 3rd spot, and it
Wow,
looks
look at
like
the
all 3 staying
braking
on the
from
primary
William
laps.
Gunn.
Oh yeah,
If
I
I was
turned away for just a moment, unfortunately,
Oh, no
watching
worries.
Craig.
Yeah, William Gunn definitely hard into the braking zone into the first chicane, and but Andrew Wood able to get back on the throttle after the first chicane and carry more speed through Curva Biasino as they work now towards the second chicane. You can see if you're back on it again, William Gunn definitely getting aggressive, very aggressive on the braking, but Andrew Wood kind of backing up his corners and taking more of more speed off approach, getting back to the throttle sooner by slowing down the entry of the corner. So it'll be interesting to see as they get closer, because it's 2 distinct driving styles going for this lead here.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, if you're Craig Forsyth in 3rd, he's about 3 seconds back at the moment. And say, if you're Craig, you're saying, yes, you keep fighting. I say the question mark, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I'll have to double check, but I think all 3 of these leaders still will have to put on the set of that the unideal, if you will, alternate red. So that's going to be the question mark too, is to see who has which tires left to use. Because like I said, it seems like most of the guys are going to maybe wait to the very end to put those reds on. I think, like I said, I think the one driver who should be good to go on the blacks to the end is Kobe Moore. But right now, Kobe's sitting in the 8th position, so I'd say he's a fair bit out of where he would like to be. As we look at lap times, we're 1:33.2s for the leaders. As Craig, of course, still getting his full up-to-speed lap, so not an indicative lap of what he was able to do. Looking a little further back to see what Matt Wagner is able to do once he crosses line. 1:33.0, so about 2 tenths quicker for Matt. But again, he's still about 12 to 14 seconds off the lead, it looks like.
Yeah, he's going to try and get that back, but it's going to be probably a large deficit to overcome, maybe for the win, but still looking for him to finish inside the top 5 tonight. Still running well, up 4 points from his original starting spot. We do actually see Nick DeGroot coming in this time. He had pitted last at lap number 5, so he's going to make his second stop of the night, and he can go push it a little bit longer than some of the rest of the field, but he does cycle back to about 45 seconds behind our leaders.
Yeah, I say this is going to be a tough one for Nick here, unfortunately. I said he's going to need some more attrition to help his chances. Otherwise, this could be a big hit on the points, unfortunately, for him. But Let's say we do have a couple retirements, unfortunately, including Jason Hand and Taylor Toller. And unfortunately, we mentioned Eric Peterson didn't appear to have gridded this evening. So I believe, again, I think in the points it was, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Craig and Eric that were second. Or yeah, Eric was second, Craig was third. So this, if depending how this all shakes out, this could be a very good points night for Craig Forsyth. Like I said, well, again, this will be a good lap to see how he compares to our top two. As you can see, again, just out in the background there, there's a 133.5 for both of our leaders there, 133.5, 133.3. Craig a 133.1, so 2 to 4 tenths quicker than the top two. So say you can just get a little closer. If you can start sniffing that draft, he might have a chance. But right now, on the push-to-pass battle, it's 5 left for Andrew, 8 left for William, and 9 for Craig here. As Jim Herrick, actually, he puts down the fastest lap of the race, 132.9.
Some issues in the Lesmo corners a couple laps ago, but he's trying to get back at it and puts down a very fast lap of the race, as you said. As we do actually see, looks like Luke Daniels may have crashed.
Yeah, he went off track. He had to. Yeah, I think he just overshot. Looks like the first turn, and he had to avoid the barriers. And yeah, so he's good to go again, but does lose a couple spots to Dan Murray and Covey Morris. Oh, Covey just hanging on for dear life to that number 87 machine. So right now this is a battle for 6th and 7th between the two of them. And then just in the background there, you see Ryan Steinhoff there. Jim Herrick, you mentioned, who just put down the fastest lap of the race. He's starting to catch these guys as well, as everybody's just starting to drift off track just a little bit here. I think those tires are starting to come into temperature, and everybody's getting a little more comfortable, a little more aggressive here.
Yeah, definitely exciting to watch for sure. As we do actually look, we see. Looks like Yari Brubacher is off track as well.
Yeah, looks like, I say, went up to Yari's. Looks like he's okay here. As this is, say, we just crossed the halfway point, and here's Craig Forsyth, though, Boomer. He's on the button here, heading into turn number 1, so he's going to try to reduce that gap once again. He was just about the same lap time as Andrew that last time by 33.7 for the two of them. So you can see, that's the thing, like we just saw right there.
A little bit locked up. Yep.
Yeah, just a little too hot on entry. And again, like you said, just a little bit more speed coming into that turn with that push to pass. And so that's the danger. And that's the thing too, is the push pass lasts. I can't remember exactly how long each button push lasts, but you got to use it at the right place at the right time to get the most out of the button. So that's another thing I'm sure these drivers tested during practice. Okay, if I push it out of the final turn, it does this. If I do it out of, let's say, out of the Lesmo 2, this might be the way to do it, and so on and so forth. So there's definitely a lot to kind of take in all. Oh, it was a big slide there through that second Lesmo, as I think Craig is just trying to get everything he can to try to close that gap and get into that draft window.
Yeah, definitely. He is currently about 2.5 seconds back, so too far away probably for the draft. But if he can get close enough to get to it, that'll definitely kind of pull him up to our leaders. Andrew Wood still on point with William Gunn close in his sights, and Craig Forsyth still rounding out the podium positions so far tonight. Running on lap number 19, going to start lap number 20 as Andrew Wood leads us across the start-finish line.
Yeah, St. Andrew's still got a mirror full of William Gunn, and this is kind of what William's been, as I said, Andrew starts to break the draft a little bit. This is what William was doing. I mean, he was just pretty much just hounding Matt Wagner earlier, and when I think about it too, was you think about that first run where Matt unfortunately ran out of fuel. I think back to that 14 car, he just basically followed Matt, probably was saving a lot of fuel for a good chunk of that run. And then where Matt wound up running out, that was where William could continue to go on, because he was able to save for those maybe 5-10 laps or so under green flag conditions. And again, with the length of the straightaways here, there's a lot of fuel that can be saved when you're in the tow of these cars around you. So I think that could be something to be said for the strategy of William Gunn here. Again, maybe even this time around, maybe he can run one extra lap over Andrew Wood, for example, try to do that overcut. Because I think also the longer you can go, because again, this final pit stop, I believe the top three, again, I think pretty much all of these drivers are going to have to put on the alternate reds. And they were talking about the fall off of those tires, so I think the less time you can be on those tires, the better. So maybe if William can go one extra lap, remember, that could be very big for him to try to avoid that fall off.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. So for sure, most of these guys, handful that have taken tires, handful that haven't yet. Obviously, Kobe Moore is the one that we know that is probably the furthest up the field that has already taken his alternates. So it'll be interesting to see how they do plan to take that, and obviously have to assume that they're going to have to do it on this last stint here. So it's going to be a race to the end, and at least fortunately for our leaders, they will be on the same strategy, and quite a few probably within the top 5 are all on the same strategy, I believe. So it'll be interesting to see if some of these guys, like Kobe Moore, who have burned up his alternate reds already, has a chance to make his way through the field as these guys run out of tire probably for the last stint as we come to the checkered flag. I guess I don't know about you, Gael, but I would love to have my reds used up already so that I can just kind of quietly use the standard tire
Yep.
for the rest of the race and not have to burn it off at the end.
Yeah, that's the only question mark, of course, that we'll have on this as they're watching Covey here and Luke Daniels fight. Oh, into turn number 1, just a little bit of side-to-side contact there, but I think both are going to get away with it. Covey's going to grab the spot on the exit. But yeah, I would have been the same way, though, Boomer. I think I would have wanted to start the race on the alternate reds. And then just kind of, again, expecting, like, hey, we're going to be restarting. We're all going to be bunched up. There's a really good chance of a caution. That could be the opportunity to maybe try to go ahead and use it and say, see if maybe we can work the system, if you will, and basically, hey, I ran my race laps with the alternate reds, and now I'm going to run the blacks for the rest of the way when you made that pit stop. So I don't know, maybe, again, there was maybe some discussion. It's like, hey, that didn't count for the reds because of the lap 1 caution. But again, we're not in the on-track radio, so we can't say for sure. But that would have been my approach, was to basically burn those things right off the bat, and then from there not have to stress about it. But do you need to mention back up front, though, Andrew Wood starting to just start to stretch away a little bit from William Gunn. Actually, he used a push to pass not that long ago, so he's down to 4 remaining to the 8 of William Gunn, also the 8 of Craig Forsyth. So those guys are all kind of right lockstep with one another. And lap times as well right now, all running right in the 133s. So right now these guys are all, again, this is kind of the battle because they've got about 13 seconds on back to Matt Wagner. And Matt's got about another 8 seconds to Dan Morera. And saying Dan's one who's leading kind of the big chunk of the pack here, as he's got Kobe Moore right behind him. Luke Daniels is right there. And then not too far back, also including Ryan Steinhoff, Jim Herrick. So, and actually, even only a second back of them is Alec Coates. So, let's say pretty much, yeah, from about 5th to 10th is really where the core of the field are here. So everybody else spread out just a little bit right now. So it's kind of, yeah, a top 3 fight for the moment. And then unfortunately Matt Wagner kind of in his own little pocket right now after
really on an island, yeah. Yeah, he's kind of on an own little island. So I mean, it's nice to be by yourself, focus on solely your race. Obviously, he's one of the very few in the front of the field in the top 5 that have not used a single push to pass. So we'll look to see if he can make up some of that time here towards the end of the race, as some of our leaders are down with less than 5 push to passes. Obviously, Andrew Wood with 4. William Gunn and Craig Forsyth also have 8 themselves. Both have 8 themselves. So it'll be interesting to see. But man, this is exciting. This is you get to see a little bit of different strategies. Obviously, most of our leaders are kind of doing the same thing. But we'll have to keep an eye on Kobe Moore, already up 10 spots in the 6th position, as we already documented. Hasn't used a single push to pass and has already taken his alternate tires. So it'll be exciting to see as we get closer to these final stops, which should be coming fairly soon here, to see where they're gonna net out and who has to who still has to use those red alternates, and where Kobe will end up as the one who has already used his.
Yeah, no, I'm in a complete agreement with you. It's actually, as I said, that here comes Ryan Steinhoff. He's going to try to work over Jim Herrick here into that turn number 1. Again, another braking duel. He was on the push to pass, and it looks like he will complete the pass, as that'll move Ryan back up into the 8th spot. And then, I'd say for Andrew Wood, he was not able to get away from William Gunn. So right now, William's still holding strong here in that 2nd position here in that number 14. And again, just about a half a second off. And lap times, once again, Craig Forsyth not too far off those guys. So, saying again, though, for Craig, though, he was able to go 1 lap later than them. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as we'll jump back, though, because Luke Daniels is starting to try to work now also on Kobe Moore. As actually Kobe goes off track, he's going to have to try to cut to the inside. Oh, that was close, as he just hangs on to that spot. And that, yeah, like we were saying, though, I mean, this is where these guys are really having to fight out right now.
Yeah, for sure. And also interesting to note, Matt Wagner did actually go off between the first and second Lesmo corners. So he is now actually about 16 seconds behind our leaders. So definitely a little bit of a bobble there. Not quite as bad as the issue with the pits and running out of fuel, but still nonetheless not a good mistake to make. He still has a bit of a gap to Dan Morera and the rest of this hungry pack behind him. But interesting to see if he can continue to keep it clean and.
Had a moment out. Oh, yeah, contact.
Oh, he's crashed.
Yep, and he's going to take a quick tow there. And unfortunately, I believe that might be night over for Covey, as he had already had to burn that one fast repair earlier. So
he has already disconnected.
Yeah, that's the heartbreaker for Covey. As we jump over now to Jim Herrick, who's trying to work over Ryan Steinoff here. This will be for the 7th position. Say just trying to return the favor and try to get it into turn number 1. So yeah, tough break for Covey there, unfortunately. Just a little bit too much throttle, I think, on the Parabolica, and that was pretty much all she wrote there. So right now, though, up front, like I said, pit window, probably another, I would say, 2 laps to feel good about. I think you want to go at least wait till 11 to go before you hit pit road. I think 12 to go, you might have to save a little bit of fuel here. So I think if you're watching leaders here, if they come in this time, it's going to be close to fuel, whereas Craig should have 1 lap to the good on them. So we'll see. This could be a really big point right here.
Absolutely. These final pit stops are going to be absolutely critical here, as we're going to see most of these guys starting to come down, like you said, in a few laps here. So it'll be exciting to see what's going to happen and where some of these strategies will net out. Maybe it even helps if you do need to actually save a little bit of fuel if you are going to be on those red tires to finish the race. Maybe that is helpful for you to pace it a little bit and not burn those off as much. Obviously, again, the faster tire, but not lasting nearly as long as the standard black tires.
Yeah, exactly right. So yeah, there's definitely a couple of trains of thought of the right way to do it. So, but right now though, the field actually very spread out here. Looks like Dan Morera, he's going to be the first to hit pit road here though, Boomer, at that 12 to go mark. So Dan's the same thing. He's going to be right on the edge of the fuel, and maybe even having to do a little bit of fuel saving here to the end. So he's going to be the first of our leaders to come in. Looks like everybody else is going to be waiting till 11 to go to come in at the earliest. But like I said, this will be the question now. Of course, the overcut versus the undercut. Actually, as I said, Jeff Heisong, he hits pit road now as only 18. But yeah, I think if I'm like a Craig Forsyth, I think I wait absolutely as long as humanly possible to pit, just for the sake of trying to keep those reds on for the minimum amount of time. As once again, though, Andrew Wood again on the button here, Boomer, as he only has now 3 remaining.
And we do see it looks like William Gunn will be pitting this time from driver communication, so it'll be interesting to see who else is going to come down. Definitely want to try and go as long as you can, like you said, especially for someone maybe sitting back in third there, that Craig Forsyth in that 27 car in third place. So it'll be interesting to see who can make the overcut happen if most of our leaders are going to be pitting this time by, and we will look to see Andrew Wood potentially peel off. Yep, Andrew Wood in the pits as well as William Gunn, our 2 leaders. Craig Forsyth is not going to follow them. He is going to stay out, just like we mentioned he might.
He's on
the button on the push to pass while these guys are in the pits. So he is going to go one more lap and try to go. He'll have 1 lap less on his tires for the rest of the race for the guys ahead of him. So we'll see. I love the strategy call and hope to see where he actually nets out, as Andrew Wood is going to be putting on the red alternates. It looks like William Gunn will be as well. And Matt Wagner and Luke Daniels also in pit this time.
Yeah, looks like Andrew and William right out together once again. So that fight going to continue on. So the question mark, like you said, though, is going to be Craig Forsyth. Can he make this overcut happen? He needs a banker of a lap here to come into pit road. So we'll see what he can do. And then also Jim Herrick and Alec Coates still staying out as well. As again, Andrew Wood once again here, Matt.
Yeah,
right
on the push and pass.
On the button.
Trying to pull that gap over William Gunn. Little does he know, obviously we know how many push to passes they have left as the broadcasters, but drivers know how many they have, but that's it. They don't know what everyone else has. So if you're someone like Alec Coates or Matt Wagner in 5th and 6th, they haven't used a single one yet. Maybe they have an opportunity. That's 100 seconds, 10 seconds a push for each push to pass, 100 seconds to move up on the field in front of you for everyone else that has used them. So definitely interesting to see who has been saving them. Craig Forsyth, our current leader, has 7. William Gunn in third has 8. We mentioned Al Coates, Matt Wagner have 10. The next guy with 10 is Nick DeGroot. Everyone else has anywhere from 7 or less, as William Gunn is actually on the push to pass this time now as they run down the backstretch.
He has to be. He is over 2 seconds behind here, Boomer.
Yeah, his outlap was fairly poor from William Gunn, unfortunately.
So this will be interesting to say. This separation, is it enough to maybe help with Craig Forsyth, as we mentioned, to maybe get him right into the mix here? So we'll watch Craig as he rolls out of pit road. Andrew Wood, he's used now one more, so he has 1 remaining here. As William and Craig, they roll out. Craig rolls out. He has 7 remaining. William also has 7 to go. So this is going to be interesting because they've just started to spread out a little bit here. And Jim Herrick, Alec Coates, they have now hit pit road. Matt Wagner jumps up into 4th. And I believe Ryan Steinhoff may have had a moment. No, car looks okay, so maybe just an off-track excursion for Ryan. But also Nick DeGroot now on pit road as well. So I believe the cycle is just about completed now. Everybody's made their final scheduled pit stop. Now it's going to be the outright race to the finish. And yeah, look at the tire situation here, Boomer. Everybody except Ryan Steinhoff on those alternate reds for these final 10 laps.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see here. Obviously, unfortunately, Colby Moore retired after that incident, so not going to get to see him try the alternate strategy, but we do see Ryan Steinhoff and Jari Brupacher are the only 2 not on the alternates right now, so everyone going to be using these reds up to the end of the race, and actually we do see Andrew Wood has used up all of his push-to-passes now. Quite an interesting strategy, really just trying to stay ahead of William Gunn and, break that draft now that he has a 2-second lead, but he has no idea that William Gunn behind him still has 6 push-to-passes left, so that's 60 seconds, almost 2/3 of a lap of push-to-pass left to go here. So it'll be interesting to see how they use that and if Andrew can keep this gap or if it's going to fail and William Gunn is going to be able to catch back up, catch the draft, and eventually get around him. But it'll be interesting to see for sure. Yeah, as actually William Gunn ran the fastest lap of the race for 32:17, 0.3 of a second faster than Andrew Wood that time by, and Andrew was using his push to pass that lap. So William Gunn is gunning down Andrew Wood.
I see what you did there, and I like it. But you are spot on, though. I say that's insane. We'll see. I believe we can pull up the interval gap here. There's a better one that we can show the lap times and just kind of show the comparisons. Watch you hop on board with Andrew Woods. We can compare it to William Gunn. And yeah, right there, though, the difference there. Lap 26, Andrew Woods able to put 1.2 seconds on William Gunn. And then William able to put 0.3 on that last lap, though, like I said, and going purple as well to put down the fastest lap of the race. So yeah, so this is going to be interesting. Like I said, this is going to be our first opportunity for Craig Forsyth to see what kind of lap times he's able to do here. But the other thing that I think this is going to be one of those, you got to make sure you bring your tires in nicely. I feel like for these alternate reds, you don't want to get them too hot too early. Because again, we're talking to the drivers, and it sounds like it's not a wear issue, it's a heat issue. So you probably need to be a little bit careful not putting too much heat into those tires right off the bat. So maybe these guys kind of putting the grip between their teeth, if you will, and get just too aggressive too early. And maybe that opens the door for Craig to make some big gains on those closing stages of this race. Because again, 10 laps here, it feels like a lot, or it feels like nothing. But again, I mean, it's just about a full fuel run, so this is going to get really interesting. And yeah, Craig Forsyth at 133 flat, Andrew Wood at 132.99, so literally 100th of a second between them. But William Gunn at 133.45, so about just under half a second slower there. So William losing a little bit of ground once more.
Yeah, so 10 laps is about 15 minutes here, just to give the viewers an idea of how long it takes here. So we are working on, or at least our leaders are currently working on lap number 29 with 7 to go. So it'll be interesting to see here what's going to happen. I think for the most part, we'll have to really just wait and watch and see who burns off their tires, as we do see Andrew Wood getting, taking advantages of all of the track limits, just kind of briefly going over there. But you can see a lot of drivers trying to get as much as they can of every edge of this track. Not as many, track limits as you would see maybe in an F1 race, but if you do cut them, especially in the chicanes, if you cut them at any point, you'll get a couple second penalty. So just trying to maximize the track space without going too far off of it or cutting any corners.
Yeah, exactly right. And so yeah, so that's the strategy is yeah, how hard you can push without just kind of jumping over that limit just a little bit. As I say, wait for these lap times to continue through here. As last time, by this time, William Gunn about a half a second quicker than Andrew Wood. Craig Forsyth even a little bit quicker than William Gunn. So again, it's all starting to shrink a little bit. Craig, of course, about 5 seconds off, but like you said, I mean, one mistake, one slowdown, and it's like if these two start to fight each other, that's going to slow these two down, I think, tooth and nail, because you know at that point there's going to be zero give between the two of them, and that's exactly what Craig's going to be rooting for. So right now, like I said, I think the battle's going to be for the top three unless something drastic happens. Sitting in fourth is that number 8 of Matt Wagner, as again, he's about 15 seconds back of the top three, and he's got about 7 seconds on Luke Daniels, who's currently rounding out our top 5. And then on the highest climber side of things here, it's actually pretty competitive right now. You've got William Gunn, actually our highest climber, with only 4 positions gained. That's how big it's been. You've wanted to be towards the front here in this race, and that's been definitely the advantage right now for that 14 car to get there early. But yeah, I mean, 4 spots being the highest climber, we're used to seeing in the teens usually, Boomer. So qualifying looks like it was definitely a big one here.
Yeah, definitely made a huge difference for that track position. We've got a couple guys falling back further in the field. Obviously, Alec Coates qualified third now in P9, and Nick DeGroot qualified fourth in P12. So other than that, really not a ton of a difference as far as changes in the changes in moving up and down. So.
But Nick DeGroot, though, he's got a couple spots right in front of him here. He's got Jeff Heisong, he's got Yari Bruchhopper. These are for positions, so this could put Nick up into the top 10. I remember at one point, I mean, he was down into, I think, 14th or so. So this could be still overall a really solid rebound for Nick here. So these are important positions for Nick, because actually after that, it's another about 13 seconds to Alec Coates. So right now, this is what I think what Nick's got to focus on is, say, all right, you know what, this is my race here. If I can get into that top 10, this will be my win to kind of just push for everything you've got. As actually, speaking of that, though, Dan Morera, he's on pit road again here in that 26 car. This could actually give another spot potentially to some of those a little further back here. So I don't believe a scheduled stop for Dan here in that 26 car. So he's going to hit pit road, though. And it looks like getting service done to that machine as well. So he's going to fall back at least a couple spots, possibly right into the clutches of Yari, Jeff, and Nick here as he rolls out of pit road.
Yeah, that battle for 10th right now is probably going to be one of the hottest battles other than the battle for first place. We do see Craig Forsyth continue to pull in our leaders of Andrew Wood and William Gunn, who are now about 2 seconds behind. William Gunn actually had a bit of, maybe went a little bit wide on, was it Ascari there? The final chicane on the backstretch. Yeah, that was huge. Craig is just about within a half a second of William Gunn now after that bobble, and Andrew Wood now has a little bit more space to breathe. 3.6 seconds over William Gunn and 4 seconds over Craig Forsyth. So, yeah, definitely gonna have William Gunn's gonna have a mirror full of Craig Forsyth now.
Yeah,
for the rest of this race.
Yeah, and this is probably exactly what Andrew was looking for. It's like, yes, now you two fight each other. Let me break away. So. I'll say Craig's best opportunity is if he can try to make quick work of William here and then be able to, like I said, break that draft. Actually, Luke Daniels on pit road now as well here, Boomer. So really everything's starting to shake out and say, trying to see if that car's got damage or not, but it looks to be okay to me. But again, another one of our front runners unscheduled pit stop here.
Yeah, maybe just not getting the fuel in that they needed earlier, or potentially more likely just didn't get enough for the end and trying to, or maybe they're trying to pit for tires. Maybe their tires are out. I'm not sure, but
maybe the tires couldn't hang on. You're right, but this once again though, it's gonna, I believe, well, it looks like he's gonna hold on pretty safely to his spot. Dan Morera not too far back here, trying to chase him back down. But Nick DeGroot, he has gotten into that top 10 position, got around Yard, got around Jeff. So we're going to jump back up front, though, because Craig Forsyth, he's within a half a second here of William Gunn. And they're both on par here, both with 5 push-to passes remaining. So Craig's got to be very particular about when he wants to try to use this push-to pass. because again, you don't want to waste them. You want to use them when they're at the most efficient, which will probably be right here coming out of the Parabolica.
Yeah, down the front stretch and into Variante number 1, as we do see Craig. Yep, Craig's on it now. Yep, he's going to try and make this pass.
He's really close. He's got the toe. I think this is a perfect opportunity. William Gunn not on the button, so this should...
Oh, he's going to go to the outside here. See? Oh, Craig. Push. Yeah, Craig and William both pushing it now.
Yeah, that's going to be that braking duel into one. It looks
Craig's
like
going to get it.
Wow. Oh, no.
Oh! Oh, and they
wrap each other just a little bit. So the question now is going to be, do they have suspension damage or not? So now it's going to be the little drag race.
Wiggle from William trying to get it. Yep,
William's
figured out.
Front wing missing though, so that car's not going to have the downforce. Yeah, so Craig's car looks like it's okay, but yeah, it looks like William's going to get the brunt of this one, unfortunately. So that car definitely not going to be handling like it should. Probably also losing a little bit top end. The question mark will be, do any of these drivers have any suspension damage? Because again, I know for a fact, Craig was in that first incident, so he's out of fast spares, and there's the downforce issue right there. He just cannot take the two Lesnos here. And so this, I think this is with 4 to go. Do you take the fast spare? Do you maybe just risk it and try to just see if you can limp this thing? Can you stay 13 seconds ahead of Matt Wagner to hold on to that top 3? So this is going to be a tough call for William here, because I think if he pits, he loses that spot to Matt. But again, though, I mean, this thing's going to be a handful to drive for these remaining soon-to-be 3 laps. But that's exactly what Andrew Wood was looking for here.
Right, Andrew Wood looking to capitalize after some malfunctions of the technical variety last week when he was leading the charge at Iowa. But it looks like William Gunn actually able to get around Craig Forsyth using the push to pass around the backstretch, and now he leads down the front stretch.
Yeah, I think that's an apology from Craig. I don't know if now the question is, does he go back by him or does he just stay put? No. So I think that's Craig giving the spot back, saying, hey, yeah, that's on me. But then but at that point, I mean, you just he would be losing his own race if he lets him back by. Yeah, so unfortunately, I say it's a tough spot for William, but I say Craig did the right thing. But yeah, of course, he may not be certain how much damage that 14 had. So at that point, yeah, he's just might as well just get back going and keep after it. So. But yeah, for Andrew Wood, though, now he's just going to set that thing on cruise control for these final 2.5 laps for that 64 car. But say if Matt's aware of what's going on in front of him, though, so this is where Matt's got to kind of put that bit between his teeth here in that number 8 and try to see if he can chase down that 14 and grab that podium spot. But right now he's got, I believe, about 12 seconds to that 14 car.
Yeah, about 13.
But
so
he still has yet to use any of his push to passes, though, Boomer. So you almost kind of wonder too, does he maybe not have a push to pass button set possibly? As of course at the ovals they don't have there is no push to pass. So maybe, unfortunately, maybe Matt by mistake didn't set a button, so he's not able to take the benefit of that push to pass. So things that you don't think about, but I mean, to say with iRacing, you got to program a button to be that button. So unfortunately, that may be the case for that number 8 car.
Yeah, and there's oftentimes an opportunity to have a button or like a default, but not everything has a default. And a lot of times the defaults are actually a keyboard bind, not an actual steering wheel setup button. So interesting to see here. But yeah, we'll see if Matt does eventually use that button. Alec Coates as well has 10 left, so could just be that they feel where they are, they're not going to make a bunch of Matt may not make a bunch of moves, especially with Craig and William Gunn here electing to stay out. I don't know if Matt is going to be able to catch William Gunn or not, but would have expected to see him probably try to use push to pass by now.
Yeah, Zach Ryan saying it's still about a 10.5 second gap. So yeah, so not looking ideal. But actually, I'd say for Nick DeGroot, say that fight between him and Yari, say he got the 10th spot, but I mean, Yari's not going to roll over. So say now that fight continues on between the two of them. As actually also a little further up, both Luke Daniels and Dan Murray are also on the button. Let's say they're a fair bit away from these guys here. And I think the big slide for Nick DeGroot somehow hangs on to it. That could have been disastrous for Nick. But he saves that car. Say, I'm going to go back because I want to show that one more time, because that, I'll say we'll have to rewind it here because I don't think it showed up on our timing and scoring. But we'll hop on board and we'll watch this one more time. And that thing was on a big power slide here coming out, and that big opposite lock hangs on to it though. So yeah, big moment there for Nick DeGroot. However, up front though, Andrew Wood, I believe, has just taken the white flag lap here, so it's one more time around this very notable track here, iconic track. And like I said, Andrew Wood, he jokingly pre-race, he told me it's like make note of all the bad luck, all the miscues I've had over the course of my season. Say so maybe finally the bad luck is shaken, but I say he's still got a handful more turns to go to make sure he can get through cleanly. However, no traffic in front of him, so he just needs to try to just, like I said, just play it safe. You got 7 seconds to play with on Craig Forsyth. No sense taking any risks here to the end.
Yeah, definitely not. And I think Craig was actually a half of a second faster that last lap, but Andrew really just able to cruise here and let it go. As we do actually see Alec Coates is electing to finally use his first push to pass back in the field, so we'll see if he does actually burn through all 10 of them in this this final lap. Maybe, who knows?
That would be fun. Yeah, I'll keep an eye and see where he goes to. Yeah, if he can go from the 10 to see how much
He
he can
does have
bring.
Ryan Steinhoff 3.7 seconds ahead of him, but
There's a second
it's interesting.
one.
So yeah, Ryan Steinhoff in 6th place was actually able to was the one of the few cars that took his alternates early and has moved up a few spots since the last pit cycle. Is a lot of these guys on the alternates probably dropping back at this point. So we'll see if Alec can actually catch up to Ryan or not, burning 2 push to passes on the final lap here so far.
Yeah, so you see Andrew Wood very happily crosses the line there, does a little bit of weaving, as he will be our race winner tonight in that number 64 machine. Craig Forsyth going to finish up in second. William Gunn, he hangs on to with that wing damage, still grabs a 3rd position. And then, yeah, you mentioned a little further back, though, for Ryan Steinhoff, Alec Coates. To say Alec's gone through 3 of the pushes now, so he is starting to burn them up. Now let's say that he's gone through now 4 of them, so he's using up those buttons now. The other thing to mention about the push to pass, though, is also, I mean, it's going to burn more fuel, so if any of those guys are close on fuel, you don't feel comfortable using those push to passes. And actually, this is more of a defense, as the old Luke Daniels, he sent it for all he was worth there into that final turn, trying to grab Alex Coates there. But Alec going to hang on to that 7th position. Matt Wagner, didn't mention him. He finishes in 4th. Jim Herrick rounds out our top 5 as the remainder of the field. Just about to finish here as Nick DeGroot looks like... Oh, actually, I think Nick must have had a moment at some point, because actually Jeff Heisong gets back around him. And yeah, actually, look at Nick DeGroot. He's missing part of his front wing here. So yeah, so
Yari,
somewhere a moment for that number 89 machine.
Yari Brubacher now finishing in the 10th spot. Jeff Heisong will bring home the 11th place, and Nick DeGroot will be our last finisher that is running here tonight. Yeah, a lot of damage to him and that left front. Pretty similar to William Gunn's car after that move by Craig Forsyth. I mean, wanted to mention earlier, but I've just kind of slipped my mind. But that move by Craig was beautiful up until, had a little bit of a bobble, and unfortunately William Gunn not expecting that and just kind of ran in the back of him. So would have loved to see those guys battle it out a little bit more and to see if Andrew would, if they could have gotten to him. Obviously, William could say he made the mistake to let Craig get to him in order for Craig to make that pass on the outside, and I don't blame Craig for making the move at all. Made a little bit of bobble, and unfortunately kind of stalled William Gunn's progress. But overall, very exciting battles throughout the field tonight, and a commanding win for Andrew. Definitely great to see him get that win after the unfortunate issues he had at Iowa last week, the technical difficulties that forced him out of the race lead and out of the win after a dominant performance. So 2 back-to-back dominant performances, but finally gets the win here tonight.
Yeah, exactly right. I say, and we'll pull up those final results right now with Andrew Wood getting the win by 7 seconds over Craig Forsyth. William Gunn going to finish in 3rd. Matt Wagner 4th. Jim Herrick our top 5. And then we mentioned the remainder of those top 10. Ryan Steinhoff, Alec Coates, Luke Daniels, Dan Marrera, and Yari Brubacher. And then, of course, we mentioned a tough finishing for Jeff Heisong, Nick DeGroot there as our final finishers. And then, unfortunately, the early retirements of Covey Moore, Jason Hent, Taylor Toller, and unfortunately, Eric Peterson not able to make the start this evening. Definitely missed seeing Eric on track tonight, but definitely will be keeping an eye on him. So it could be a big points night for Craig, though, on that one, which we'll have a chance to chat with him. But first, Boomer, we got to kick things off with our third place finisher, which will be the number 14 of William Gunn. So we're going to pull him on in here. We'll take a good look at that Red Bull machine so we can have a chat with him. So let's pull William on in over here, and I say this is probably, I mean, I'll say for kind of a kickoff for the season, probably feeling good, but probably one of those what could have been type of races for you, William, because I mean you were quick tonight. I mean, it felt like you're just kind of riding, saving fuel on Matt Wagner early on in the race, and then once he got to the lead, you kind of took off. Said, hey, you know what? I'm going to lead. I'm going to run away with it for a little while, and then you and Andrew Wood a great fight, and then it turned into you and Craig Forsyth a great fight. And unfortunately, that little bobble out of turn number one, that little first chicane there, where he kind of had to lost control just a little bit. And of course, I mean, you guys are going straight to the throttle, so that little bit of contact now that from that point on, just kind of had to limp it home there to the end to still grab a podium though. But I mean, take us through the night because it was definitely an eventful one for you this evening.
Yeah, so this is actually my first ever IndyCar race on a road. So that was, that was nice. Definitely nice feeling to be on the podium for that. Yeah, so from the start, I was taking it easy. I think I had some neck code or slight contact with Alec on lap one, and that caused the big wreck. Um, so I ended up with like a 4X, but I don't think I had any damage off of that. And then I, saved fuel behind Matt for a while, like you said. Um, Saving push to passes, didn't burn him up and waste time trying to pass Matt and have him pass me back and forth. Um, yeah, and then after pitting for the second pit stop, I was coming out behind Andrew, and turn one, cut it a little too sharp, got a 2 second slowdown. So that's how I lost Andrew. Um, and then, yeah, sort of fell off a little bit, got damage from Craig. He just, one of his tires, the reds were really awful at the end. Don't blame it at all there. It just happens. But yeah, I'm really happy with that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, amazing if you're saying this is your first IndyCar road course race here in league action. But do you have any other experience with road courses, or maybe here at Monza? Obviously, you ran the fastest lap of the race, and put on a clinic for a little bit there to go through the field. But do you have any experience either at this track or in open wheel or in other open wheel or anything to that prepared you for tonight?
Um, I don't have that much open wheel experience. Most of my racing on iRacing has been GT cars or LMPs. I ran Skippies to sort of build up my rank way back when. In other games, like I used to play Gran Turismo a lot, I run a lot of Monza there, so I'm very familiar with the track and the corner and everything. And I've gotten more familiar with how the IndyCar sort of feels in general with the oval racing I've been doing with this league the past few weeks. I did a little practice yesterday, and did a little practice right before the race, and I think it just turned out really well.
Yeah, I mean, I say these cars would definitely look like a fun combo here this evening. I say I'm probably going to wind up asking everybody here tonight, and say because there was a lot of mention like the Reds were just the tire to avoid. Did you have any thoughts? 'Cause pretty much the whole field opted to start on the primary blacks and just save the Reds till the very end. Like hindsight, of course, being 2020. I mean, had you started on the Reds and then been able to jump off of them early and go straight to the blacks, would that have been kind of something that maybe you thought about doing now hindsight, or I mean, was that you still think this was the best way for you to go?
So I meant to start on reds. I forgot to change the tire because the setup changed, defaulted back to blacks. Um, I think that happened to Matt as well. Um, so I don't know. Yeah, hindsight's great. If I was on reds, I probably would have pit to get off of them. But then we would have had to pit again for fuel, but with a splash and dash, I think. Um, I don't know. I mean, I think the strategy worked reasonably well. The tires honestly weren't too bad at the end. I know some people were struggling with their rears. I was like adjusting. You had to really crank your front brake bias towards the front to avoid heating up your rears into braking, and I think that helped a lot for me. Um, but yeah, with I think front right damage from the hit with Craig, and that just really burned through my tires the last few laps. So I was really struggling there.
Yeah, no, it was definitely, yeah, it was pretty impressive. Those, like I said, like Boomer's mentioned, I mean, for this to be your first open wheel road course start, that's is this maybe bodes poorly for the other guys on future road course races. But we're joking though, maybe as the Red Bull scheme was able to propel you a couple extra tenths or something like that there as well. So, but just I mean, a great job though tonight. Like I said, unfortunately the kind of circumstances didn't fall your way with some of the contact at the end and just some of that bad luck there. But I mean, still a great run for you from start to finish there. So definitely want to give you the floor here for any thanks or shout outs you'd like to give.
I wasn't expecting an interview, so I don't have anything planned. I don't know. I used to stream on Twitch, not really anymore, but you know, it is what it is. I don't really have any charities or anything to shout out. I guess just enjoy your life. If you can go sailing, go sailing. I love sailing. I don't know. Try to give that a shot if you've never done that in your life before.
I have not done it. Well, I mean, I live in the desert, so I don't have a lot of opportunities. But I'll have to mold that one over. So maybe if I'm in your area, I'll hit you up or something, and you can show me what it's all about.
Yeah, the key is to have a friend who owns a boat, not to actually own a boat.
There you go. I like that idea.
That's always key when it comes to boats, for sure.
Yeah. Bust out another 1,000.
But no, yeah. So definitely great job though tonight, William, and definitely look forward to seeing more of you hopefully over the course of the season. Because yeah, I mean, definitely shows you've got plenty of pace, especially like you said for being your first road course here. So, let's say hope to see you the rest of the way. And but yeah, congrats again tonight, and look forward to hopefully chatting again with you soon, sir.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, Boomer. That is our third place finisher of William Gunn. And that's going to jump us now to our second place finisher in that number 27. Also, a little bit of some battle scars on that machine of Craig Forsyth. And I say Craig, unfortunately, caught up in that early incident there on lap number 1, but luckily the caution did fall. And we were commenting at the start, it's like that if there was a big wreck, that was probably the one where it could be thrown. And so I'm going to kick it off with the tire strategy, Craig, because you were the first one that I talked to about the tires. You said the reds were just not the way to go. And so again, this is kind of the whole hindsight thing, but in my head I was thinking, you know what, I would start on reds because if there's a wreck it'll happen early, and then maybe you can then throw them off right away and go straight to the blacks for the rest of the race. But the question on the race control, with it being an early caution, like was there anything about like it not maybe counting as using that set of tires, or was there any kind of guessing of like, hey, does this meet the rules or anything like that? Or I mean, take us through that whole chaos before we get to the rest of your race.
I honestly don't know if we have that rule. I just always assume that the general rule is you have to complete a green flag lap, which I mean most leagues run that. But I wanted nothing to do with the reds at all. So despite being in the caution that took me out was bad. But being able to go longer, going longer was good, because it meant that. When I did go red at the end, I was going to try and have the shortest reds I could possibly have.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a battle with those tires here tonight, and interesting to see that for the most part everyone kind of had a similar strategy. But definitely want to take you back to that first chicane pass over William Gunn, where there was a little bit of contact. Obviously, a flawlessly executed braking into the first chicane around the outside, and just lost the back end a little bit. William Gunn not expecting that, and kind of getting in the back of you a little bit, but saw you maybe give the spot back up there for a minute before realizing that you had less damage and we were gonna pretty easily get ahead of him again. But take us through setting up that pass, the contact, and then the sportsmanship that we might have seen afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, I was having such a great time. I mean, as much as I don't like, what happened on lap 1, it gave me the opportunity to try and, go from the back and just carving my way up through the field. And at that point, I knew I had a lap to the good for the reds on Andrew and William. So I figured as long as I babied the heck out of the red tires, I'd have a good shot at, passing them towards the end. Because at that point, up until then, I think Andrew was just controlling the pace. I was never able to get, I think, within 2.5 seconds of the back of William, and they would just, every time I'd start to push, they would just maintain that pace. So my plan was to baby the reds and then just use the reds when hopefully their reds had worn out, and I think that was what was starting to happen, because my reds were still good. The only time I was having problems was getting onto the throttle off of the two chicanes. And unfortunately, despite even telling myself I needed to be light on the throttle, I still put my lead foot to the floor and immediately lit up the tires. And unfortunately, that ended my chances of passing Andrew. And at that point, I didn't really feel good. I'm never happy whenever anyone's involved in a wreck with me. So I wanted to let William by and see what he had. But once he went by me, I realized he was missing part of his wing where I just had damaged wings. So that was pretty much the end of that at that point. Gave me the second.
Yeah, I mean it was like I said, it was a great fight throughout the race for you. So you definitely were making some big gains, working on some people for positions, like I said, to get that gap down. Of course, watching the overcut strategy you were doing and saying that we were watching is like, yeah, I mean that's exactly what I would have expected from you, is to try to get that big lap on the in lap and then go after him, of course, then from there on. So like I said, not quite panned out the way you're hoping for. I mean, still to get a runner-up result here. Say your closest competitor there, Eric Peterson, unfortunately didn't show up tonight, or let's say didn't grid tonight. And then your championship leader, Nick DeGroot, finishing in 12th. So I mean, on the point side of things, I'm guessing that's still feeling pretty good about some redemption on the point side of things, though, after tonight.
Oh yeah, I mean, a colossal change from what I thought was going to be the result after the first lap, because Nick was still out there and I didn't know he had any damage. And I was towing back to the pits, so I thought that was yet another massive points gain to separate us even more. So yeah, with Eric not being here tonight, plus the inverted result that was completely unexpected, that ended up working out well. We'll see what this leads to.
Yeah, definitely have to keep an eye on that. But yeah, great job though tonight, Craig. So it's always fun to see you on track in that number 27. And again, a great result for you this evening. And yeah, looking forward to seeing what you got the rest of us. We got Indy next week, so that'll of course be a big one for the whole field. So that's gonna be a fun one, an exciting one to see coming up next week.
Oh heck yes, yeah. I got to thank Jim over at 4D Racewear, and league sponsor, team sponsor. I mean, we were discussing the different strategies even in the team chat, and I think Luke and Dan both decided they were going to do the full bore on the reds and try and double stint it, and I don't think that worked out well. So, but it was good to see how the two strategies worked out, so we can file that away for next time.
Yeah, exactly right. So yeah, it's good to have the team, like you said, with the 4D Racer group. And yeah, thank you for making sure you catch the thanks and shouts, because yeah, I definitely apologize I think I'm too used to you interviewing you, so you kind of know the drill, so I don't have to bug you. But no, but yeah, just a great job though tonight, Craig, and definitely look forward to seeing you the rest of the season battling out for that title.
Thanks, man. You guys have a good night and stay safe.
All right, Boomer, that's going to leave one last person for us to chat with, and that will be our race winner in that number 64 of Andrew Wood. As I already was peeking over at the Discord, and drivers were giving him a hard time about, oh yeah, your bad luck this, your bad luck that, and showing the race results with him getting the win here tonight. But it wasn't without any troubles, I should say. I mean, you snuck away nicely, got the lead from Matt Wagner on the start, and then from there kind of broke away a little bit. But then you had the William Gunn party there on your back bumper for a while as well, including Matt, of course, before the pit stop cycle. But I mean, it was a tight battle, and it looked like fuel mileage came into it a little bit for that first pit stop, as you and William pretty much built the gap on Matt as he unfortunately ran out of fuel there. Were you working on your fuel numbers even after the caution, or did that caution kind of put you in a really safe one-stop or two-stop strategy?
No, I wasn't safe at all. I pretty much had to I had to watch the fuel the whole race. I didn't want to run the whole entire stint on reds. So, yeah, it was kind of one of those, if I should run red in the middle or red at the end. I decided to run the red tires at the end just to make sure I had, like the right amount of laps at the end, to make sure I had the fuel to kind of push when I needed to push.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a clinic, if you will, kind of put on by you. We saw that a little bit last week in the at Iowa, but unfortunately some technical difficulties coming through and not able to get that race win after leading most of that race. But you got it done tonight, and I mean, really led most of the race, and we're the guy at the point at the point leading the most laps. So take us through maybe that relief to finally get that win after a struggle.
The win for that whole entire race, Boomer. Like, it it was it was tough because when I blew turn one a couple times there, you guys might have seen it. Um, the brakes for turn one for me seemed a little bit off. Like I couldn't confidently brake for turn one for any part of that race at all. So I was very much babying the brakes, just making sure I made the corner after I blew it a couple times. So, I was very worried about that, especially when Gunn had that run on me out of the last corner. I didn't know if he was going to try and throw it up the inside. We were both in the same voice chat too, so it was tough. The whole race was very tough. I was just kind of hoping I had enough to hold on to the front there, and luckily I did. So, yeah, I feel very lucky this race that nothing really went wrong for me. Those few times I blew turn one, I felt like I might have lost it. I did lose the lead once there, trying to keep those guys behind me. So it was a tough one for sure.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that's like it was good to, like I said, kind of. I wouldn't say get the monkey off your back, if you will, because I mean you've been, like I said, been running really well, and like I said, just unfortunate, like I said, the really bad luck with the pop up at the wrong time there for updates or whatever it was to the computers. I think we've all been there and done that, where it's like, really, how are you going to do this to me now? But like I said, you were able to put it all together. And I think the biggest moment for you was that final pit stop. Whatever you did, I mean, you let those red tires. I mean, you let them eat there on those first couple laps, and they just ran away, and you're able to build that gap on William. And I mean, Boomer and I were nervous, like, man, he's burning through those push to passes. He's not going to have anything to defend with, but you were able to build the gap, get out of the draft window of that 14 car, and then from there able to, of course, and some of the difficulties with he and Craig there at the end. I mean, that obviously then from then on you're just kind of cruising to the finish. But yeah, I had some nervous moments there on the push to passes. I was kind of worried you were going to leave yourself vulnerable to defending.
Well, I was playing with my roll bars a little bit, trying to tinker with whatever setting felt best for me for the red tires based on what I had with the blacks, and I accidentally pushed the push to pass twice, trying to play with the bars there. So I had a bit of a miss push there. A couple times, twice to be exact, when I was trying to, get my bars set up. So just one of those, like, frantically trying to push buttons and make sure you had the right settings, and you just push the wrong one. So yeah, I was a little nervous too that if he ever did catch up to me, that I would actually be vulnerable for a pass. I'm just glad it didn't happen that way.
Yeah, you were able to get it done tonight, Andrew. So, I mean, like I said, a great job from start to finish. Started on front row, grabbed that one spot early, and then from there able to pretty much hold it from start to finish there to the end. So definitely, though, want to give you the floor here for any thanks and shouts for a well-deserved win here tonight at Monza.
Yeah, thanks to you guys, especially for broadcasting. Hope it was a good turnout there for the broadcast. Thanks to everyone who came out tonight to race, and thanks to Matt and Jim for putting on a good league. And yeah, hope this isn't the last time that you see me in victory lane.
I want to give you the floor here for. All right, so that is our race winner in that number 64 of Andrew Wood. And Boomer, I mean, I would say definitely, I'd say, like he was mentioning, it was definitely an exciting one here tonight, and definitely a lot going on this evening with some things. So, yeah, a really good result there for him, of course. Let's say good points night for Craig Forsyth. And that being said, though, the points battle doesn't grow too much. I'd say it's actually dropped to about now a 41-point lead over Craig from Nick to Craig Forsyth. So it does drop the gap a fair bit. But man, look at Andrew Wood, though, with that win. He jumps to third now, only 43 out of lead, only 2 behind Craig Forsyth. So first he has first he has Eric Peterson kind of hounding over his shoulder. Now he's got the 64 of Andrew Wood now in that same position.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely not too much of a shakeup in the points battle. Obviously, a big lead for Nick DeGroot, and thankfully, even with that 12th place finish tonight, he's not going to move too much at all, really, points-wise in the battle. But an exciting race that we saw. Andrew Wood finally getting to capitalize on his hard work, kind of showing his hand as being the the short track and road course king, or the champion here. So definitely going to be one to watch. There's a lot of opportunities there for a couple races for him to throughout this season and next season to capitalize and do well. So good to see him finally get that win. And obviously it was an exciting battle between Craig and William Gunn. I mean, that was so good to see. I mean, love to see Craig go for the move. Obviously, unfortunate that he did light the tires up a little bit and couldn't contend for the win, and took William Gunn out of contention for trying to pass for anything. But for the most part, the three guys that were up front led or were there most of the race, and really showed their prowess here at Monza, the Temple of Speed.
Yeah, exactly right. So definitely want to thank you all for joining us here tonight at the Dark Horse Area 51 Indy Series on Green White Checker TV. So we'll be back again on Thursday night for the Super Speedway Truck Series, and then of course bringing it back over to Sunday nights for the Super Speed Xfinity Series before starting the new week off with the Next Gens on Monday. So Boomer, sir, as always, a pleasure doing these races with you. Looking forward to seeing you in a couple more nights. I'd say probably you and Max will most likely get to have some more fun over there. Then we'll get back after there on Sunday as well with the Xfinity cars. So appreciate you, everything you do. It's been a lot of fun working these races and these seasons with you. And yeah, thank you all for watching, for supporting us here at Green White Checker TV. So hope you have a wonderful evening. And as Craig mentioned earlier, definitely stay safe, and I look forward to seeing you hopefully all on Thursday night. So until then, have a good evening, and we'll catch you in a few more nights. Take care, everyone.